Let's go, bro.
Ecomi recently put out their monthly update, this time, of course, for the month of April. And so in this video, we'll be going over it. We'll be going over what's important, what it means for the future of Ecomi or even Veve. And we'll just be going over my overall thoughts and what stands out the most to me. So without further ado, we'll jump straight into it. So here on Twitter, they have the kind of recap, the main points. We got the Immutable Bridge opening, the Epico Regal announcement, and the exchange token swap is finished, along with some of the drops on Veve, the Coca-Cola Starlight drop, and Matt Gondek's airdrops, along with the Veve and AMC Theaters collaboration for Jurassic World Dominion. So this is the tweet with the main points, but we'll be going into the article that breaks it down even more. So here we go. This is the Medium article. There's tons of great info on here. They got all the drop details and, of course, the monthly updates and just other major updates that they put out, and it's in a very nice, condensed, easy to read form. So we'll just be going through this. So I won't be going through every single thing. As I mentioned in the intro, I'll be going through what I think is the most important, most significant, and just what stands out the most to me. So first, we got the Ecomi updates going. And first of all is the OMI token migration. So they say that they are very happy to report that all exchanges have now completed the OMI token swap, and they are not alone. I too am very, very happy about that. So what this means is that every exchange that OMI is now on, they have made the transition from the GoChain token to now the new Ethereum Immutable X token. And so now it is on the Ethereum blockchain, and the migration is complete finally. And this is huge because Ethereum is one of the biggest blockchains in the world. It's among some of the most well-known and popular. You know, it goes Bitcoin, Ethereum is always right there with it. And so this is just one more step of bringing everything in the OMI token together, making it interoperable, and just making it more usable, more accessible, and more legitimate. So related to the migration somewhat is the token swap. And so for me, how I did it was I just left my OMI tokens on the Veve web app. That might not be the best way to go about it, but I didn't want to mess around with the token swap and sending tokens back and forth. And I don't plan on selling them anytime soon, so I'm not going to be needing them. I don't need to withdraw them. They're just going to be sitting there. So I thought it was the easiest for me to leave them in the Veve web app. So mine are already swapped, but if you don't have it swapped, you're going to want to do that. It's not a huge rush, but don't forget about it for, a year or two. Otherwise, you may not be able to get your OMI tokens that are on the old blockchain back. And so the swap site is live. And by the way, guys, if you are going to use any links like this, always use it directly from the Ecomi or Veve websites, links, Medium articles. Do not click any links in DMs. Don't click any links on sketchy looking websites. Only go to the Veve and Ecomi endorsed websites and links to do this kind of stuff. Otherwise, you'll be sending your OMI to some random person. And here's a good tip. It's recommended to do it when ETH gas prices are low. So there should be a way, if we type in just let's try ETH gas fees. So we got the tracker right here. And then here we go. So here it shows how much it would cost to do a transaction on the different type of platforms like OpenSea, Uniswap, USDT. Gas fees can be killer. So you might want to help yourself out here by, doing this kind of thing, as they said, when fees are low. Moving on, we see that the Immutable X Bridge is now live. So this is massive, and they go through a few bullet points here of what that means exactly. So you can deposit your ERC20 OMI tokens from layer 1 to layer 2. You can now send OMI to and from the Veve app, which for a long time people were really upset or frustrated that they had their OMI tokens in the Veve app and the move to Ethereum had been made, but the bridge wasn't there. So their OMI tokens were just stuck in the app with no way whatsoever to get them out. So that's really good to see that there's now that possibility. And this is really simple in the grand scheme of things, but these things are the foundational aspects of the token and of the cryptocurrency. So this is just a testament, how I see it, this is just a testament to how early we are, that the bridge is some kind of celebration. So now that the bridge is done, we'll never have to go through these growing pains again. I mean, there will be growing pains, but not this type of growing pain. And we can see the OMI token just thrive on Immutable X. What's also cool is that you can spend your OMI tokens in the Immutable X marketplace or other compatible IMX marketplaces. And then lastly, you can withdraw OMI from layer 2 to layer 1. And if you don't know what that stuff means, you probably don't have to worry about it. But basically, layer 1 is just the normal standard Ethereum that we all know, the standard protocol. And then layer 2 is a protocol that's built on top of the foundational aspect of the Ethereum blockchain. So it still runs on the Ethereum protocol. They basically built on top of that layer 1 infrastructure on Ethereum, and they have made tweaks to make their own protocol that runs on Ethereum. So that probably wasn't the best explanation, but that's good enough if you're just completely lost in the dark. So for example, Immutable X is made for NFTs, and they have things like 0 gas fees, which Ethereum does not have. And here's what I was mentioning. They are secured by Ethereum, a true layer 2 inheriting the security of layer 1. So it has the security of the Ethereum blockchain, but they have specialized it into NFTs with no gas fees, which are also carbon neutral, which Ethereum is not. And here they say that they put together a complete walkthrough guide. So if you're unsure, there are tons and tons of resources to learn if you so choose. The next thing that stood out to me was right here, Omi supported in Ledger Live and Coinbase Wallet. So as they explain, Ledger is one of the most popular and widely used cold storage crypto wallets on the market. And then also Coinbase Wallet. Coinbase is one of the biggest exchanges in the world. I think it's number 2 in trading volume next to Binance. I'll double check that. But they're also the biggest exchange in the US. So Omi is now being supported by 2 major wallets. And that just, again, brings more accessibility, more ease of use. And also, to go along with this, it's not exactly a Coinbase listing, but you can now also purchase Omi tokens directly through the Coinbase browser wallet. This is really exciting, and there are now more ways and more entry points to buy Omi, which for its entire life cycle, just being able to buy it, knowing how to buy it, knowing where to find it has been one of the hardest things about this whole aspect of the Omi token, which is pretty ridiculous. But for those of us that are early enough and can take advantage of the low volume and the low visibility, I think it's actually a good opportunity. But it's crazy to think that just knowing how to buy it, just knowing where to find it is one of the hardest things about using Omi. On to the next, we are on to the Ecomi X Epico Regal section. And so Epico Regal, as they explain in here, is a tower defense game. So it's a mobile app, and they will soon be using Omi inside their app. We see here that Omi token holders will soon be able to use their tokens for a range of benefits and utilities in the Epico Regal marketplace, including purchasing NFTs, accessing in-game items and collectibles, and exclusive access to Epico token packages and hero NFTs. So it sounds like you will be greatly rewarded within this game for holding the Omi token, and I just know that there will be tons more games like this. And this is just the first domino dropping, and we are so early into NFTs being integrated into video games. So this is the first step, and in my opinion, this is a huge landmark step. And although we might not see super immediate, drastic, short-term changes or moves because of this, I think that the precedent that it sets and the direction that it sets us on are invaluable. And seeing the Omi token being used on multiple platforms, games, collectible apps, whatever it might be, seeing it used on all these different platforms, that will do numbers for the Omi token. I was already really high on the Omi token just as it relates to Veve. So now thinking about it being used on a wide array of different platforms, that is just extremely exciting. And I think, the price might not reflect it, but I think it's a great time to be an Omi holder. And I still stand by that despite the price action. And be sure to be on the lookout for a community AMA on May 18th, 2 p.m. Pacific time, where they will be talking with the Epico CEO. And I didn't mention this, but I didn't know this before, but Epico Regal is just a part of the Epico verse. So it sounds like they'll have multiple games or different branches of the Epico brand, and there'll be multiple things going on with it. So this is just one small part of the Epico verse. So I would love to see what they come out with, and I would not be surprised if Omi continues to be the token that powers their Epico verse. Next up are the community updates and conversations, and I'm not going to explain these or go in depth on these. I just want to point them out because I do think that they're important, and they are jam-packed to the brim, overflowing with great information, some hidden gems, just good info to know in general. We get to see what is on the horizon, the inner workings of what the Veve and Ecomi team are thinking at times. So I would highly recommend checking out both the Taps interview with Reese and the community update with David and Dan. Highly recommend. And I definitely did not mean to leave out the Comics and Crypto interview with David Yu. I just didn't scroll down far enough. I love you guys, love your list. But yeah, I would highly recommend checking out all 3 of these videos if you want all kinds of hidden nuggets, just great overall information in general. So those were the Omi updates, and now we are on to the Veve updates, which not as much has gone on, but I can assure you there are still some big moves happening, and we'll find out in just a second. So first, I go over some of the regulatory landscape. And as a lot of you know, crypto and NFTs, because they're so new, because we're in uncharted waters, a lot of times government regulation can screw up plans or cause a lot of uncertainty with certain tokens or certain NFTs or whatever. And so they just mentioned that there have been a lot of anti-money laundering laws, and they have to abide by those. And they don't say it directly here, but they've said it in other community updates, that these anti-money laundering laws and regulations that have been relatively new and being implemented as we speak have been making it very, very hard for MTL, which is just the cash out feature. Been making that very hard, been having to adjust, correct course. They don't touch on that specific aspect of that in this article, but what they do say as a result of the money laundering laws is that peer-to-peer gem transfers are permanently disabled, and peer-to-peer collectible transfers are temporarily disabled. Moving on down the article, we see that there were a few collectible upgrades. So we saw the Ghostbusters Ecto 1 got some dynamic lighting added to it, and the DeLorean time machine is now controllable / drivable in AR. So I've mentioned this, and I'll just let this play for you guys while I talk. I've mentioned this in other recent videos, but one of the main things that gets me really, really excited about NFTs and investing in NFTs is that you can build on more things to the tech. So for example, we've seen certain collectibles become animated. We've seen certain collectibles become drivable. They've changed, and there's so many things that you can do with them, and the potential is literally unlimited. And so these 2 examples are perfect for that. That, you start off with just a static, unmoving collectible, you hang on to it for a little bit, and now it becomes something completely new, completely different, and it brings a lot of buzz and attention to the collectibles. So I love this kind of thing. Now we see the Veve X AMC Theaters announcement, and somewhat similar to my last point about being able to add things onto NFTs and just build on top of them. I think that along with that, instead of just driving or giving more dynamic lighting, I think collectibles either starting off with utility or the potential for your utility to be added onto collectibles is just massive and will be game changing. I think that's what will make NFTs truly blow up and become mainstream, is when you can not only collect them, put them in AR and do whatever else, maybe use them in the metaverse or something like that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but when you can use these NFTs for utility, that's when the mainstream will come into it. And we see here that if you buy a movie ticket for the Jurassic Park double feature, you'll get an NFT to go along with it. So I guess in this case, it isn't really utility in the same way that the James Bond movie ticket was utility, that having the NFT got you entry. This is just an NFT to go along with it. But regardless, I still love seeing Veve collaborate with, something like AMC Theaters, of course, Jurassic Park as well. But just seeing Veve anywhere in the mainstream is really so exciting. And I have a good feeling that the direction that they're heading down this path, that we are just getting started, and that it will not slow down. And we can expect to see Veve paired with a lot of major brands in the future. And by the way, if you're going to this movie with this NFT, let me know, because I will most likely be going as well over the summer. We are now into the artist spotlight section within the Veve updates. And first we see Matt Gondek. So he was first introduced onto Veve this month, or the month of April, I should say. And what's really cool about these collectibles is that there was an airdrop, which we don't see too many of. It's not the first or anything like that, but getting an airdrop of any kind is really exciting on Veve, because we don't get too much of that kind of stuff. A lot of these other NFT projects, they pretty consistently, seemingly at least, get a lot of things airdropped to them. They got a lot of updates and things going on with it. And Veve, I'm not trying to complain or sound ungrateful, but there isn't as much going on in that department. But it's really cool seeing this kind of thing, because we got an airdrop if you held the set. And then we also saw an Easter egg where if you put the Deadbeat Matt in front of the ultra rare weapons rack, then he would become animated, which is something that we've never seen. We've seen an animated collectible, of course, but we haven't seen it turn animated when you put him next to a certain collectible. So Veve is pulling all these tricks out of the bag, and it's getting me super hyped for what else they do next, and especially with some of the bigger brands. And then along with the artist spotlight, so first that was Matt Gondek, and then we saw Patrick Hughes as well, and he is the famed inventor of the reverse perspective art. And I would have loved to have this collectible, but unfortunately it was a bit too pricey for my current budget, and it's also not something that I usually go for as far as my collecting philosophy. Actually, I'm working on a video with that. It may or may not come out before or after this one, but be on the lookout for it. If it's out before this video, I'll put an annotation somewhere, wherever that crap goes. So although I would have loved to have both of these collectibles, I unfortunately did not. But regardless, it is really cool seeing new artists come onto the Veve app and bring their own creativity, bring their own style, and really just introduce us to something new. For whatever reason, this YouTube video thumbnail wasn't loading, but you know, I felt like I should include the picture of him in here. I feel like he deserves that respect. And then also, if you guys want to learn more about this artist, there's of course this video on YouTube right here. The last thing that I want to cover in this article is the web app. So as they announced here, beta testing has been rolled out, and the web app will be a mirror of the current app on the phone, just a lot more accessibility, a lot easier to navigate, I would imagine probably a bit faster, and just a better experience overall for most people. Some people like mobile, but you know, the majority of people will enjoy this web app. And I think it'll, again, like I've really emphasized this a lot in this video, but more accessibility, more ease of access. And I think that's just huge because crypto is already complicated and intimidating enough. So the easier we can make everything, the better off we will be if what we're looking for is mass adoption and bringing in more people, which I don't know about you guys, but I would love to have more people on the app and bring in more competition and just more demand for these collectibles and NFTs overall. So only a few select people got access to this beta testing. Your boy wasn't one of them. He didn't make the cut, but it's all good though. You know, my time will come. But if you guys want to see a little test of it, a little taste, then I highly recommend Foster Hilt's video on it. He does a little demo. He walks through in real time what the web app looks like, and I'll also play a little bit of footage in the background here. But I highly recommend looking at that. And I think the web app is going to be one of the biggest shifts in Veve that we have seen in a very, very long time. That concludes our coverage of the Ecomi April monthly update. Let me know what stood out the most to you guys, what you got most excited about, what you're most looking forward to. Leave a like if you liked, dislike if you disliked, comment if you got something to say, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. My name is NFT Flenny, and I'll catch you guys next time.